The saloon doors creaked as the cowboy walked in, his boots heavy with dust, his heart heavier with the burden of a promise he never meant to make. Every head turned. The piano stopped mid-note. Even the ceiling fan seemed to pause as Sheriff Cole slammed his whiskey on the counter and said with a grin that didn't reach his eyes, "Choose any woman you want, cowboy, and I'll marry the obese girl." The laughter that followed was sharp enough to cut glass. The cowboy's name was Jack Holloway, a man known more for his silence than his aim. He didn't drink, didn't gamble, and never raised his voice. But in that moment, as he stood beneath the flickering saloon lamp, his jaw tightened. His eyes shifted to the corner table where the so-called obese girl sat. Her dress faded, her curls frizzy, her face buried behind a book she wasn't even pretending to read anymore. Her name was Clara May, and she flinched every time the men laughed. Jack's hand hovered over his hat brim. "You sure about that, Sheriff?" he asked, voice low, steady. Cole chuckled, leaning back. "Sure as sunrise, boy. You're a free man tonight, any woman in this room. But I'll take that one." He nodded toward Clara. "If you win." The crowd whistled. It wasn't a game, it was cruelty dressed as humor. Clara tried to stand to leave, but her chair caught on the floorboard. One of the men near her smirked, whispering something that made her eyes well up. Jack saw it, and something inside him snapped like a dry twig in a fire. He tipped his hat to her. "Then I reckon this is a game I'll have to win." That night, the air inside Dusty Ridge Saloon turned into a storm. Poker chips clattered. Whiskey spilled. The sheriff's eyes burned with confidence, but Jack's with purpose. The game wasn't about money anymore, it was about dignity. About the way Clara's trembling hands folded over her lap when she thought no one saw. About the way the town had decided she didn't deserve love because she didn't fit there. Picture of beauty. Cards fell. One by one, men folded. Sweat gleamed on Cole's forehead, his smile fading as Jack's pile of chips grew higher. By the last hand, silence filled the room. Only the crackle of the oil lamps dared to whisper. When Jack laid down his cards, the sheriff froze. The crowd gasped. Jack stood slow and calm and turned to Clara May. "Seems I won, Sheriff," he said quietly. "Now let's see you keep your word." Cole's laughter died in his throat. For the first time, he realized this wasn't funny anymore. The crowd's faces shifted. Guilt, awe, shame. Jack offered Clara his hand, and though her eyes trembled, she took it. As they walked out of the saloon, a hush followed them. For the first time, she wasn't hiding. She didn't have to. The next morning, the whole town talked. The sheriff didn't marry her, of course. He found an excuse, called it a drunken bet. But everyone saw him differently after that. And Clara, she stopped sitting in the corner. She opened her bakery again, the one her late mother had left her. Jack started helping her, fixing the broken window, mending shelves, sometimes sitting quietly as she laughed again for the first time in years. He didn't court her the way most men did. No roses, no fancy dinners, just quiet gestures, bringing her apples for her pies, patching the roof before it rained, walking her home even when she insisted she was fine. But Dusty Ridge wasn't done testing them. One evening, as the sun bled over the horizon, Sheriff Cole showed up again, drunk, bitter, and burning with pride. "You made me a fool in front of my own town," he spat, gripping Jack by the collar. "You and that woman?" Jack didn't fight back. "You made yourself the fool," he said evenly. Cole swung, his fist catching Jack's jaw. But Jack didn't fall. He just stared back with eyes that carried years of pain and quiet endurance. "You think loving her makes you a man?" Cole sneered. "She's beneath you." And that's when Clara stepped forward from the doorway. "She's standing right here," she said, voice trembling but strong. "And she's not beneath anyone." The street went silent again, just like that night in the saloon. The townsfolk had gathered, watching. Clara's voice rose, shaky but sure. "All my life you people looked at me and saw something to laugh at, something to pity. But Jack saw me, not what I looked like, me. And maybe that's why you'll never know what love really feels like, Sheriff." Cole stood there, red-faced and speechless. Jack stepped between them, calm but firm. "This town doesn't need a man who laughs at women," he said. "It needs one who listens to them." That night, the sheriff left Dusty Ridge for good. Weeks turned to months. Clara's bakery became the heart of the town, a place where people came not just for her pies, but for the warmth she carried. Jack still fixed fences and mended saddles, but his evenings always ended the same, sitting outside the bakery porch with Clara, watching the stars rise over the desert. And one evening, under a sky painted gold and violet, Jack turned to her and said softly, "I never cared what anyone saw. I just wanted you to see yourself the way I do." Tears shimmered in her eyes. She laughed, covering her mouth. "Jack Holloway, "Are you trying to marry me?" He smiled, tipping his hat. Not trying, asking. And she said yes, not because she was chosen out of pity, but because she had finally chosen herself first. Years later, folks in Dusty Ridge still told the story of the night a cowboy stood up for a woman everyone mocked, and how that one moment changed the whole town. Because sometimes love doesn't start with beauty. It starts with bravery and ends with the kind of peace only two honest hearts can build together. And when the storyteller's voice fades, the screen goes quiet. The viewers sit there, tears welling up, hearts full, because they realize something. The most beautiful love stories aren't about perfection. They're about seeing someone's soul and never looking away.